You tried being positive. You tried working harder. You made plans. You changed your plans. You told yourself to be strong. You searched for answers. And still, nothing seems to be working. Maybe something you thought would always be there is gone. Maybe the future you carefully planned has fallen apart. Maybe you've reached a place where you simply don't know what to do next. When life pushes you to your knees, perhaps the answer isn't always to fight harder. Perhaps it's time to stop fighting reality. But this isn't about giving up. And it isn't about pretending everything will magically become okay. It's about discovering what remains when you've reached the limits of what you can control. This video brings together perspectives from Stoicism, the Bhagavad Gita, Rumi, Vedanta, Viktor Frankl, and Eckhart Tolle. You don't have to believe in any particular tradition. Simply take what speaks to you and leave what doesn't. One important note: these are philosophical perspectives for difficult times, not a replacement for professional support. Sometimes asking for help is itself the wisest next step. The first step is perhaps the hardest. Accept, not approve, not celebrate, not give up, accept. Because much of our suffering begins with an argument against what has already happened. This shouldn't have happened. This wasn't supposed to be my life. Why me? But no amount of resistance can rewrite yesterday. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus began with a simple distinction. Some things are up to us, and some things are not up to us. Your choices are yours. Your response is yours. Your next action is yours. But the past, other people's choices, and many of life's outcomes are not. Acceptance means stopping the exhausting battle against what you cannot change, so that your strength becomes available for what you still can. But the mind rarely stays with what is. It travels backward. Why did this happen? Then forward. What if everything gets worse? And suddenly you're carrying yesterday, today, and 100 imagined tomorrows, all at once. Eckhart Tolle's teachings repeatedly bring us back to the present moment. Not your entire future, not next year, not even next month. Just this moment. Perhaps you don't have to solve your entire life tonight. Perhaps you only have to meet this hour, this breath, this moment. Acceptance brings us to an uncomfortable place, the unknown. Because once we admit that we cannot control everything, we have to live without knowing exactly what happens next. And that requires something different. Trust. Trust doesn't mean believing that everything will happen exactly as you want. It means accepting that you cannot see the whole road from where you're standing. Rumi wrote, "Where there is ruin, there is hope for a treasure." When something collapses, all we can see at first may be the ruins. We cannot yet see what might grow in the space that has opened. Rumi also gave us an unforgettable image. The wound is the place where the light enters you. This doesn't mean suffering is good, and it doesn't mean we should romanticize pain. It means that sometimes the experiences that break our certainty also reveal something we could not see before. Strength, compassion, a different direction, a deeper understanding of ourselves. Sometimes the wound doesn't immediately reveal an answer. Sometimes it simply creates an opening. For some people, trust means faith in God, a higher intelligence, or a universal soul. For others, it may simply mean accepting that life is larger, more complex, and less controllable than any individual mind can fully understand. You don't have to know how everything will turn out before you're willing to move forward. Trust is not certainty. Trust is taking the next step without certainty. And this is where acceptance must not become passivity. The Bhagavad Gita offers one of its most enduring teachings. Give yourself fully to action. without making your peace dependent upon the fruits of that action. In practical terms, do what is yours to do. You may not control whether the door opens, but you can knock. You may not control whether your plan succeeds, but you can make the next wise decision. You may not know how to rebuild your entire life, but perhaps you know the next small thing that needs to be done. Do that. When life feels overwhelming, don't demand a 10-year plan from yourself. Don't even demand 10 steps. Ask, what is the smallest meaningful step I can take today? Make the call, send the message, finish one task, ask for help. Rest if you genuinely need rest. Begin again. One small step may not look heroic, but sometimes, one small step is courage. Viktor Frankl offered another powerful perspective. There are circumstances we may not be able to immediately change, but even then, we can ask, what response is still available to me? When you cannot yet change the situation, perhaps the question becomes, who will I choose to be within it? You may not have chosen this chapter, but within the limits of your circumstances, you may still have choices about how you meet it. You've accepted, you've trusted, you've acted. Now comes perhaps the most challenging part. Release. You did what you could. Now loosen your grip on what your action must produce. This is where the Gita's teaching becomes especially powerful. Act wholeheartedly, but don't make your inner peace conditional upon receiving the outcome you demanded. Because there is a difference between commitment and attachment. Commitment says, I will give this my best. Attachment says, life must now give me what I want. Do the first, release the second. And Vedanta takes the question deeper still. Your circumstances changed. Your plans changed. Your emotions changed. Your thoughts are changing even now. But something within you is aware of all of those changes. Vedanta invites us to investigate that awareness. You are experiencing fear. But are you only the fear? You are experiencing uncertainty. But are you only the uncertainty? You are experiencing the storm. But are you the storm, or the awareness in which the storm is being experienced? Perhaps beneath everything that is changing, there is something within you that doesn't need to be repaired before you can meet this moment. Different centuries, different cultures, different philosophies, yet perhaps they are pointing towards something surprisingly similar. When you've done everything you know how to do, when you've planned, struggled, worried, and fought, and still cannot see the way forward, stop trying to solve everything at once. Accept. Stop fighting what already is. Trust. You don't need to know how the entire story unfolds. Act. Take the smallest meaningful step available to you, and then release. Let go of your demand that life must produce the outcome you imagined. And perhaps something unexpected happens when we stop forcing life to follow our script. A door appears that we couldn't see before. Someone reaches out. A different opportunity emerges. A path we never considered becomes visible. Or perhaps, nothing outside changes immediately, but something inside us does. Maybe the miracle isn't always getting exactly what we wanted. Maybe sometimes it's discovering that we can move forward without it. Leave room for life to surprise you. Before you leave this video, take a moment, think about whatever brought you here, and ask yourself 4 questions. Accept. What am I fighting that has already happened, or that I cannot control? Trust. Can I allow myself not to know exactly how everything will turn out? Act. What is the smallest meaningful step I can take today? Release. Can I take that step without demanding a particular result? Pause. You don't need every answer right now. Just notice what comes up. I don't know what brought you to this video. And I won't tell you that everything happens for a reason. Some experiences are simply painful. Some situations need action. Some require help. And some answers take time. But if you're standing at a place where nothing seems to be working, perhaps you don't need to solve your entire life tonight. Accept what you cannot change. Trust what you cannot yet see. Be grateful for what still remains. Do what is yours to do. Take one small step and release the outcome. Tomorrow, take another. You don't need to see the entire road. Only enough of it for the next step, and then another and another, until one day you look back and realize you found a way through. If this message found you at a difficult moment, I hope it gave you something worth carrying forward. Please help us grow the Oneness IQ community. Subscribe to Oneness IQ for more explorations of timeless wisdom, philosophy, awareness, and the intelligence of connection. And if someone you care about is going through a difficult chapter, consider sharing this video with them.